Alright, Coach Shay White here. I'm going to discuss with you guys Saturday night's fight, Jake Paul versus Nate Robinson and Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. So I see a lot of people saying like, yeah, it takes courage to get in the ring. We shouldn't be making fun of Nate Robinson. He's an all-around athlete. I understand that. I used to box myself. I know what it takes to get in that ring. I don't do it now, and the only way that I would go pro in boxing is if that they paid me very good money to train how I would need to train to be the best athlete. I'm 29 now, and I have a whole family, so I'm not just getting in there for a couple $1,000 and risking getting seriously hurt, which is what I feel like Nate Robinson did. And my coach Marlon would express to you guys, a boxer never loses his hands. He loses his stamina. Like you have to run and condition your body all year round. I'm about a buck 91 right now because I lift and do strength and resistance, but really I would be fighting at like 160, something like that. Very cut and very lean. So yeah, I mean, now this is the thing with Jake Paul. If anyone's been following him, if you haven't, you just kind of seen something where Jake Paul kind of just like got into the boxing scene, which he found interesting. But here's the thing, he took it serious. So imagine you having millions and you make millions off of YouTube videos, but you start boxing. So you already have that social media presence, so you get the best trainers, and then you actually are like doing real live like boxing training. You're doing strength and conditioning, explosive movements, you're doing mitt work, bag work, slip rope, jump rope, sparring. Like sparring is like very key. I express that to my clients. A lot of my clients, like I'm a boxing coach, so a lot of my clients use me as a workout. It's a very high intensity workout, but you also will learn the proper way to throw punches, and you will learn defense. And how I break it down to people, because there's a lot of trainers in Hollywood that like train like these actors and superstars. A lot of those guys never been in a ring. They just know how to be a trainer. You got to take into consideration my experience with being in the ring. There's certain combinations I throw. I'm going to know how to hold the hand mitts in the combinations I throw. And I'm going to teach you how to throw it perfectly. So Jake Paul has all of that, and he's been training for about a year to 3 years. His last fight, I watched him. He was so composed. What I mean by composed is he's not rushing like Nate Robinson did in that first round. Nate Robinson came out, his stance was not nowhere near pretty. He's rushing in. Jake's very composed, just waiting for his shots, as Israel Adesanya said, and he's just jabbing, and you can tell someone who has sparred before and who has had proper training from somebody who has done it for about 6 months and then are going into a huge fight. We didn't see Nate Robinson spar. I'm talking about social media world. No one's seen footage of Nate Robinson sparring. He didn't have even an amateur fight before totally going pro with no headgear, which makes a huge difference. Like, it was insane. So when I see people saying like, yeah, it took courage, yes, it did. It took a lot of courage, but what were these people thinking? That is crazy. Jake Paul has one professional fight. I'm pretty sure he knocked that guy down. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he knocked that guy down. Then he's been training after that fight continuously. This is his second pro bout against a guy who hasn't been. Then you see these like videos of Jake Paul sparring. So like he's not sparring. Nate Robinson is not sparring. He has no experience. I mean, I knew it was going to happen. I called it. Like, me and my wife were sitting there, and I'm like, yeah, Jake Paul is going to end up winning. And a lot of people are on social media like, oh my God, how did this happen? And then, so let's talk about Tyson and Floyd a little bit. This was super interesting because we're used to Tyson knocking people out. Roy Jones, my last fight seeing Roy Jones, he actually got knocked out. Now, people were saying Tyson never been knocked out, but Buster Douglas, Columbus, Ohio native, actually knocked Mike Tyson out. Not cold out, but he knocked him out. Like 10 seconds, boom, that was Tyson's loss. What I thought about the fight. Now, for people who don't know fighting, because a lot of people, yes, Tyson looked like the aggressor. Now, there's a couple things when it comes to boxer. Who looks like the aggressor? Who has their composure? So a person can be throwing 30 punches around and land 5 to 10 punches, but that the other person can throw 15 and land 7. But if he's composed and he's not wasting his energy, and it looks like he's controlling the fight, he's standing in the middle of the ring, he's jabbing and like using defense and countering. There's a whole bunch of different stuff that goes into it. If he's doing that, then he's actually the person winning. So to break that fight down, now I agree. I think Tyson won. They did the draw thing probably for promotion to bring back a Roy Jones Jr. and Tyson 2 or something. But Tyson definitely looked like the aggressor. He definitely had the hand movement going, and a couple of those body shots and a slip forward front uppercut, like a lot of that stuff. Once Roy felt one connect, he was not trying to deal with that. And imagine the social media world and people like us who knows what Mike Tyson is capable of. What do you think Roy was thinking? And boxing is a thinking man's game. My dad had me play chess when I was younger because of that reason. So if he's listening to social media, he's a professional boxer himself and he knows who Mike Tyson is. Do you think he's going to go in and just go toe-to-toe with this guy? No. So that's why you've seen him clenching. It's a breathing technique. It's a reset technique. Like, if you get Tyson on this momentum going, Roy was trying to protect himself. And what he was doing was staying on the outside and jabbing. Yeah, a lot of people were like, he was running, he was clinching. I hate when people say that because they never been in the ring. I'm an all-around fighter. My coach would tell you that. My dad, like, literally, like, whooped my butt for not, for waiting too long, not punishing the other guy. So, I mean, but my defense, I couldn't be touched. So even if I'm on you and I'm punching and you throw punches at me, I'm going to slip them and probably counter back. But I kept the pressure on you. But you do have to, like, if it's a shorter fighter, then you got to stay on the outside. Tyson is shorter than Roy Jones Jr. So Roy, I mean, I don't understand with the whole, like, he was trying to bring out the old Roy and, like, jab and duck and, like, do the no-look jab and stuff like that. That's why they thought it was like a draw. But I honestly think Roy did great knowing what Tyson's capabilities was when fighting him. I think he did amazing to be smart in that ring. And that's like, I know I didn't even say anything about Mayweather, but that's why he's the best ever to do it, is because he mastered the art of stick and move. He can beat you with literally a jab or his go-to move, which is the cross slip and get out of there. Like, so you will see a couple of people land some punches in the first 3 to 6 rounds, but then Floyd, like, literally finds out what type of fighter you are, and then he just breaks you down. And that's why he's the best. If you go back, Canelo became who he is today after he fought Floyd. That brought his boxing IQ to a whole different level. So I love you guys. Coach Shay White checking in. I haven't did a vlog in a minute, but I'm out.